Samples arrive here at Ambry from various couriers into our sessioning department. Samples are then reviewed to make sure that everything showed up properly, all the paperwork has been filled out. Prior to transferring all that information into our database electronically, we have our genetic counselors come down. They'll review all the paperwork to make sure that all the appropriate tests were ordered for those patients. Given any patient history, they review that. They also will make any changes or make phone calls to the client, depending on whether they feel that it would be more appropriate to change the test to something that would be an advantage to that patient. All that information then gets input into our information system, where our samples will then get an accession number. At that point, we take the samples that come in through the lab, and we extract the DNA from those samples. We receive multiple samples, either blood, amniotic fluid, tissue, blood spots, multiple things, saliva as well. We'll extract the DNA from those samples, and depending on what test was ordered, we will then batch, or we like to call it batching, but we group those samples into certain sets. Those samples are then ran on our sequencers, where the data, once it's come off of our sequencers, will be analyzed by one of our technologists. Once all the data has been analyzed for each patient, all that information is reviewed by myself, where I will generate a report, physically and electronically. All of the information, the clinical findings, the previous found mutations, and our results will then be reviewed by our lab director. Finally, he will sign off the final report, which will then be faxed to your physicians.